Dear participants, please mute, please mute. Good afternoon, everyone. Mustafa sir, are you there? Anupa ma'am, you can stop sharing. You can.
See, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have more than 500 registrations, sir. We are waiting for, but we will start exactly at 5 o'clock. We will start with a prayer and hope our participants will join. Thank you very much, sir. I'm Balagopal. Jalil sir will join you, join the session after 30 minutes, he said. So dear participants, this is Another initiative from Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya Complexes, a coming together of all the Sahodayas of Kerala. And today, this fine afternoon, I think today weather is okay. Many will join us. So many are requesting to join, but we have limited that registration to 500. 500 people have joined or registered. So anyway, we begin the session exactly at 5 o'clock. We will start with a prayer, and then our resource person will be talking about those concerns that we have. When we approach towards the school reopening, we are in the same boat, whichever district you are in, part of CBSE fraternity, we are going through a tough time. So the importance of this meeting is beyond any explanation. This webinar, we all hope that we will get some light upon how to manage this crisis. So let us all join for this learning journey of 1 hour, 30 minutes. Yeah, we shall start with the prayer, and the prayer is from Shreya Joseph, a student of BRM Center School, Class 7 student of BRM Center School. Shreya Joseph, please start the prayer.
Nitya Satyamam Jyotise Sattilekku nayikkane Ninnil ninnum vipinnamallannum enna pavanagekane Veda buddhiyam swarthamavum പ്രാണിഹിംസയും നീക്കിനീ നിത്യവും മഹജ്ഞാനവും നൽകി ധീരരാക്കുക ഞങ്ങളെ ആത്മധീരരാക്കുക ഞങ്ങളെ നിത്യസത്യമാത്മജ്യോതിസേ സത്യത്തിലേക്കു നയിക്കണേ നിന്നിൽ നിന്നും വിഭിന്നമല്ലെന്നും എന്ന പാവനയേകണേ എന്ന പാവനയേകണേ എന്ന പാവനയേകണേ.
Thank you, Shreya Joseph, for the wonderful song, sung very nicely, meaningful prayer. So now, dear participants, respected chief guest and resource person Mustafa sir, you know why we have this meeting today, this webinar today. Kerala government, as you all know, have decided to open our school campuses for offline classes from 1st November onwards. And as principals, as teachers, we are discussing about many things, like how to arrange transportation, when to start, how we should keep the biological bubble that the government is demanding, and how can we keep that social distancing in place when the students come to the school, and how can we keep the students safe and secure in this pandemic period. Depends on which group you belong to. Teachers' concerns are many, students' concerns are many, management concerns are many, principals, many more concerns. But you know, from the students' point of view, we very often forget about what was the impact on students in the last almost 1.5 years, forcing to limit their movement within the 4 walls of a room, sitting in front of a device, learning through online, far away from their friends and social groups, losing the valuable school days, the community life they used to enjoy like anything. And while coming to the school, actually they are now happy with the device in their hand. Now again we are calling them to school and stopping them to keep the device. There, the psychological problems, the challenges when the student come to the school and facing the blackboard again, meeting the teacher face to face again, when they meet the students again, their friends again, so many confusions we expect. And as educators, we need to be very much concerned about it, because we need to take steps cautiously, cautious steps we need to take. Any mistake from our part will be dangerous. We cannot think of starting the teaching process all of a sudden. We have to think something like a happy curriculum. But I'm sure that Mustafa sir is very much be part of that and we'll be sharing it. We cannot be over ambitious starting from the very first day, unit 1 onwards, completing, compensating all the loss. No, we have to take care, do it with utmost care so that we cater to the needs of each and every student who is stepping in our campus. Definitely, it's a great challenge. So when we are in the challenge, it's very important that we need to have the company of the learned people, somebody to guide us, somebody to say that, no problem, this is another challenge, you face it this way. And we are very lucky, Confederation is very lucky to have Professor M.N. Mustafa amidst us today. I would like to introduce him. He is from the Department of Education, Central University, Kerala, former director of School of Distance Education, University of Calicut, awarded PhD in education from Calicut University. His specialization includes psychological and sociological perspective of education, designing projects and research, training on parenting and all the stakeholders, and of course on sustainable development. Sir has presented many papers in international journals, guide to many PhD students, UGC and NET coaching faculty, conducted various training for the different stakeholders of education. So, as I told you before, when we are amidst this crisis, we feel that somebody should be there to guide us, somebody should be there to listen to us, somebody who knows our problem is with us. And dear participants today, thank you very much for joining us. And I have this happy news. We have this learned professor amidst us to take care of these aspects. And as the letter said, sir is going to deal with many aspects of the situation that I have just shared. So in 2 days' time, we will be back to school. We will see our loving children again in the classroom. And when we see them, we must also be confident, crystal clear about what we are supposed to do, how we have to manage the situation in a professional manner. So let us together sit as students and learn from Mustafa sir about how to handle this situation. On behalf of Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya Complexes and everybody present here, I welcome each and every participant and also our resource person, Mustafa sir, to this webinar. Sir, welcome, sir. And I leave the floor for Mustafa sir, and the next 1.5 hours, we will listen, we will be a listener, and wherever possible, if sir wants us to have interaction, definitely, dear participants, please do participate actively. Thank you. With this introduction, I leave the floor to Mustafa sir. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Please allow me to share my screen. Because,
Sorry, you can share, sir?
yeah, just see host disabled participant screen sharing. You please make me as a co-host so that
Mustafa, sir, you are co-host now.
I don't know. But the message is that host disabled participant screen sharing. So maybe see I'm sharing this from,
Another device is there, sir?
yeah, yes.
Okay, that I will share.
Both starts by Mustafa. One is
Okay, sir.
other is Mustafa EDN at CU Kerala. Yeah. So please.
Yes, we do have some materials that's specific to primary, and all of the tools that we use, you can develop primary materials for too.
Okay, sir, now it's done.
Black Swan are producing some advice on how to get access to our materials. I'll also give you a link to this presentation, so you should be able to get access to the presentation and access all the materials.
Yes.
This is an interesting question about.
Yes, sir, screen is visible.
Wonderful.
It's not always advisable. You can use a tool to develop materials that are suitable for stronger or weaker students. And I think that's probably the better way to go. So you can develop different versions of the list, for example, that it appears to multiple students.
Yes. So, beloved Balagopal sir, principal of BRM school, and who is now coordinating this event, and beloved Ashraf sir from Peace School, and I happen to meet and view my beloved friend from Kannur here. Just a glance, I could able to see him. Yeah. So all the principals of different colleges, different schools, CBSE schools, then yes, now, so we are all excited, and as Balagopal sir told, and you will not be attending to a lecture from my side. So we are all have concern about this November 1st. So it's very planning and purposive that the same day of that Kerala Piravi, the birthday of our state, is sought for this another historic event. So I'll be presenting on some of the aspects which we want to take into account when the students are coming after this 1.5 years of COVID pandemic, then where they are caged in the first home, and school in fact is the second home, as all of us know very well. So from the deliberations of, though it was an introductory remark, Balagopal sir has rightly pointed out all the issues, and I do feel that there is no need of any kind of further adding up. Only required is to listen you and to learn from you, so that I will have some new learnings, and I can put in order to guide my children. So that is my style of this 1 hour, the coming 1 hour presentation. Now, as the data implies, across the globe, 160 million children affected missed their attendance in school as a result of the closure. It is over a period of 1 year, from 20th of March 2020 to 20th of March 2021. See, hence, what actually had caused? So we have been, all the country across the world has been trying to move to a mechanism where they can, the children can be experimented or exposed to a new kind of mechanism which find inclusion to our educational system at a slower pace compared to all other domains of our life, social domains of our life. That what I'm trying to tell is about the online system of education. See, in fact, all other social system of the living had its percolation to or integration with the online system. But in India, and especially in Kerala, specifically in Kerala, due to one or other reason, this integration of online system of education was in a slower rate compared to the other domains of our ecosystem. So, all that we could able to formulate a hybrid kind of environment where, as a result of the pressure exerted because of the COVID pandemic, we evolved a mechanism, and somehow all your efficient leadership and commitment of the teachers across our country, or especially our state, we could able to do somewhat. But after that 1.5 years of experiment, now at a phase by phase, the children are coming to the school. And each institution might have arranged the landscape, and the teachers and government missionary and the society, the parents, everybody is working in a very serious and committed manner so as to have an error-free mechanism. So my intention is here, amongst that all arrangements, as teachers, how the students are conceiving us, and what we can do apart from all these institutional and government directions, and what way we can provide a kind of emotional and cognitive bridging to the students who are coming to our institution after 1.5 years. So this is my the purpose of this interaction. At the very outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Sahodaya team for conducting this program, because this is very, very relevant, and at in your institutional level, you might have done everything intact and proper, but there is a avenue for others to learn what is going on. So in our state, as of the data from the government, this is a state, I think. There is teachers. Yeah, we have students of 47 lakh 38,052 students across the state. I repeat, 47 lakhs 38 and 38,052 students. And if you take the case of the data of the teachers, it is 1 lakh 65 and 652. And see, non-teaching staff 19,749. And see, all are ready for these reopening and back to school program. But school, are you okay with me? My voice and my style and my pace, it's okay.
Perfect, sir. Perfect, sir.
Okay, yeah. See, school, we have to reinforce ourselves that school is not a system where the principals, the teachers, the students, and parents are doing with a government, or government or any agency under whom's control we are. It is not that kind of an ecosystem. Above that, school is a learning and living ecosystem where there are so many elements which are attached to this learning ecosystem of the school. So depending upon this learning system, this learning ecosystem, the social institution, for the growth of the society, for enabling the next generation of the society, the society has created or constructed such a living and learning system. So therefore, the function of or the ecological niche of the social institution named school is beyond explanation. The school is a lift provider for the driver, depending on or who is bringing the children to your school, to our school. It is a lift provider to the nearby shop, very retail businessman or retail shop, or some very stationary merchant and like that. So what I wish to say, it is not a business of transformation of some knowledge or some curricular activities and curricular activities and finishing that work in the starting that work in the morning and finishing in the evening. It's go and comfortable. No, it is I must say, and we should reinforce that it is a learning and living ecosystem where the life of lakhs and lakhs of people depending it's nation building and everything. We are all agree with that. It is nation building process. It is social reconstruction and social progress of the society, in fact, depend upon this school. So, and it is a social system. And we have to, before I move to further, what is happening in the school at different age level. So we have to keep some assumption. What is the assumption? There had blundering questions from some corners of the society, stating that, oh, now see, children are learning in a very meaningful manner by the online system. What is the need of the school? What is the need of this kind of an endeavor? See, we have to reinforce ourselves, reinstate that. See, this assumption, children learn only very minimal as a result of the curricular disposition which we are giving, either through online or offline. But for enabling that online or offline, we are making an ecosystem of interaction. That ecosystem of interaction, I see there is no substitute for the time being. We don't know in the due course of evolution of the society, another system may come or not. We cannot predict it. But as I see, if you want to say something, you please unmute and raise your voice, or otherwise please mute. Yes. So in that ecosystem, we are for the as of the available inputs, there is no substitute for home and school. In a very rebellious manner, I can make slogans and make you excited that burn the books, destroy four walls of the school. Teachers are the stumbling block in the development of the child. This is out of the 100, 0.05%. We cannot generalize with an odd statement or an odd event happen in the millions and millions of the world, because in research terminology, it is not significant at all. In any human endeavor, it happens. What I want to reinforce my fellow teachers, don't be disappointed on hearing that statement that there is no need of teachers now. Google will all, or Zoom will do everything, or that platform, this platform, nothing can be there unless and until this informal interactions that is there in the social environment, the impact of that lacking will be there in the development of a child. So afterwards, after 3 years or 5 years of this post-COVID period, if we all of us conduct research on the various domains of the living style of a child, the influence of the longitudinal influence of this detrimental phase can be there in the development of a child. So what we have to assume ourselves, we have to reinstate ourselves, we have to declare to the community that it is only not only the curricular disposition which we are giving through an electronic gadget or some learning platform that enable the. So if that is there, if that was there, or that is absolutely true, why children are very anxious and they are waiting to come to the school? Why children are? I had conducted a mini micro level research by collecting data, even from some of the students of whose teachers are attending in this program. We had conducted study on the perception of the children on online system. So through different mechanisms. So they are very much eager to come to the school institution because they are in need of the informal interactions which we are providing in the institution under the leadership of an academic leader. So this is the reinforced statement you have to declare to the community. And the assumption is that people learn from immediate here and now experience as well as from concepts and books. So that immediate here and now experiences are very important. Safa sir, see, am I okay?
Yes, sir.
So I'm getting the names of only few. That's why I'm asking. Yeah. So there is second assumption we have to convince ourselves. First, we have to convince ourselves this. But I am a little bit doubt that whether the teachers are really convinced. I could able to see the disappointments when sharing to me. Many of the teachers are a little bit disappointed that the community is saying that no need of school, everything is online. So then why we are not able to continue that? Why we are not continuing? Why is such a societal pressure to open the school? What is the need of opening such a school? This is a societal pressure. Not because I want my children, since both of us are working and we want our children get away from the school. No, from the home. No, learned people and convinced, the society is convinced that as of the end. And the second, as of the present situation, school is something which enable the development of the child. And how this happens, each student in our school, they learn differently according to their preferred learning styles. Okay, so I am making a kind of belt for bridging this the concept which I want to move further. Now, the people learn mainly in four areas, four main areas or main dimensions. So, what is the first dimension? This is all we are all aware and we know these entire things, but we fail to internalize. That is why disappointment, we are much anxious, and we should take these things too serious along with the mandatory health protocol of the COVID, etc. It is only we can, as teachers, we can ensure and enable this development of the child. This is affective domain. Either the behavioral changes will be the changes in the learner or the child as a result of the schooling process will be either in the emotional mode or in the cognitive mode. In the cognitive mode. Yeah, in the cognitive mode. Or it is in the behavioral pattern or manifestations that you can see visible, as a child is progressing from one standard, one grade to another grade. It is only not only a question of giving a grade to the student, but if we could able to longitudinally, cumulatively visualize that there will be massive difference, large scale difference in the emotional aspects, in the behavioral pattern, and in the intellectual pattern of the child. So every bit of Sarita Sharma madam, you are contributing to the acceleration process of this development. Every bit of your patting on the child, it is moving to Shashikala madam, it is moving to the overall, it is contributing to the overall development of your ward. So that is why see, each generation, each society has framed or constructed such an institutional framework named school. This assumption we have to assimilate, internalize ourselves, and very boldly and very confidently we should be able to convince. But sorry to say this, even the educational machinery is sometimes not aware of this, because there is no in human, there is no explicit scientific measurement. It is a kind of a process, a long running process education is. But if anything happens to a factory, immediately the impact of the factory damage will be visible as a short run. But a damage to an educational system, it is not, yeah, it is apparently not apparently visible immediately, but the lasting influence of this damage will be there in the long run. Yes. Yeah. So this I had already talked about. Yeah. And there is, and along with that sixth principle, along with that assumptions, we must try to understand the six principles of learning, six principles of learning in the institution. And these principles, nothing but learning matches with the first principle, very simple, and we all know that learning matches with the expectations of the learner. I will not straight away moving to, yeah, so when the child comes, what you have to do, what you should not do. There is a correct manual from CBSE as well as state government rule related to what you have to do, and what you have to do for parents, what you have to do for teachers, what you have to do for students. There is 14 statements for students, and out of the 14 statements, 13 statements are totally connected to the health protocol. Only one statement is emotionally appealing, and I feel that, see, that is, you should tell anything what you find to any difficulty. If you are finding, you can approach your teachers. That is the first that is the one instruction there released. But see, so learning matches the expectation of the learner have some expectation, the students have some expectation. If it is matching with the arrangement, or the institutional landscape is matching with the expectations of the learner, there will be effective learning. And the second one is learning is interactive. Learning is interactive. And so whether you are able to see the screen?
Yes, sir, sure.
Sure. All the points are visible in the correct dimension?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I feel some issues here. I don't know. I am not able to locate that. That is being little bit perplexed. Yeah. Okay. So the learning is interactive, and learning is based on actual experiences. Experiences in the sense that it is not every time physical activity possible in the school, and there is no meaningful in providing physical activities for each concept. So as and when the chronological progress of the learner proceeds, we can switch over from a physical object to a symbolic kind of activity, because the intellect is also growing as chronological development of the child takes place. So there is no meaning in saying that the physical activity, there must be always physical activity, but intellectual activity also included in this actual experiences. See, my dear friends, the epoch making theory, the change of the physics, the world of physics by Sir Isaac Newton. So what physical activity he had conducted for evolving his theories? Anybody? Please. Any physical activity after seeing the falling of an apple or any object, whatever it may be, that anecdote. So what kind of physical activity he had conducted? It is by the intellectual activity he could able to formulate, hypothesize, and theorize with his various theories that changed the landscape of the physical science of in the academic, and the applications of which it is boundless. Now, then next principle is learning comes with reflection. Learning comes with reflection. So when you are treating as an English teacher, you are reciting a poem. We are reciting a poem in the school. See, in the class. After that, we are giving a provision for silent reading 10 minutes or 5 minutes. This silent reading for each one of your students, our students, is the time for reflection. The way a child reflect is different from another person. Now, it is learning based on respect for the learner. Learning based on respect for the learner. I don't want to elaborate on that. Then, by somebody is playing on this screen, who is a co-host. Learning takes place in a trusting environment. So this sixth principle, my dear friends, we have to take into account when, especially when these six principles it is to be practiced and it is to be there in every home, but our parenting style is being a natural one. In the midst of all the complexities and stressful atmosphere for the 1.5 years in the home, many of the parents were not able to execute these principles. And many of the parents, there is a short film documentary. The title of that documentary is Badar. Badar. It is see our that is Seenath and his daughter and son-in-law. Then as a group they have made a very short documentary film named Badar. See, it is the story of a child who is caged in a flat life during this COVID pandemic period. So in the case of even teachers' children, why I am telling this, even in the case of teachers' children who learned better psychology, who learned sociology, who learned the dynamics of parenting and everything in academically learned, we fail to follow these things towards our child. The child is coming from such a situation. So in the world, uh, what we lost is, in the world, India's school system is the largest one. So the over 1 billion of learners were disrupted due to pandemic closures of the institution. And there is a document of UNESCO that documents are titled Essential Critical. That is, the document's title is Essential Critical by UNESCO. So UNESCO depicts all the complexities of this school closing, and this was the situation in the pandemic period, our classrooms. And I depicted this screen. It is comparatively very positive screen. Why? Why this is comparatively positive screen?
Many are with the camera on.
Yeah, most of them are with the camera on. Many of them, at least many of them are with the camera on. But friends, what is really happening in our online system? So there are wonderful attempt made by many schools to involve the learner in the learning process. But all the kind of, in spite of all the attempts, there is a kind of mechanical involvement of the learner in the learning system. So here also you can see it is somewhat a very good approach. But all these historic experience tells us that this is from behind the cameras. This is not a substitute for our normal classroom, normal learning system in the and it resulted in a mechanism where the children are learning. This is a depict of a very fine very fine learning system at the tail end. But think about the digital divide. Think about the digital divide. Think about a family of a poor auto rickshaw driver whose source of income was the school, bringing the child to the school and taking from the school. Totally obsessed by the pandemic, and 5 children in the same school. What is the reality of? What is the reality? How well you, Balagopal sir or sir, or all the principals might have, and principals and the person in charge for framing the timetable, they might have made all kind of setting effort for adjusting all the needs of the parents and aspirations, the timing, etc. But this is only a minor community, but the major reality is totally different. And here represents the major reality. This is the major reality. The major reality. And in the spatial arrangement
നീ കണ്ട ഡ്രസ് കണ്ട അവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന നോക്കെടുത്ത്.
We request the participants to mute, please. Please mute.
Because that is also the social online classes, because when uh, home become your learning unit, all the schools have not developed a culture where home becomes unit. That is
Sir, you are muted. Sir,
Sir, please unmute, sir, please. Unmute.
yeah. You everybody muted by the host. Yeah. See, whatever maybe the social realities or whatever maybe the practices. Take my child, my home, where both of us are working, and we have to do our continuous online classes. One guy in another room, in one room, the other guy in one room, and see when living in a very small kind of arrangement, the spatial issues, then our domestic issues, all kind of that extraneous variables come to the process of the effectiveness of the learning. And now the all this I'm just magnifying a little bit for for making you to sensitize on the harsh realities of this online system. And a typical example of the seminars and webinars, everything. When I used to take online a series of online programs for the HRDC people, and very nice to see Dr. Abdul Jalil. Then this is the system where everybody is muted, everybody is with a profile pic. We do not know what going on behind the classroom. And yes, this is all related to the online system.
Lisha, Miss Lisha, you are annotating. Lisha, please don't do that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, this is all the online system, how it happened now. See, after a 1.5 years of this kind of practice, the children are coming back to the school. I just put one picture of the school, and there is no particular meaning on placing this school photo and all. See, what is the expectation of a learner when they are back to the school? They are back to the paradise of their life. Do you agree with me? Those who are agree with me, you please put your yes, Y on the chat box. And if you are not agree, put N. Yeah, how many Y's are there? Let me see. Or how many N's are there? How many N's are there? How many Y's are there? And my friends, if any child denies to come to the school because he or she is totally subjected to the octopus kind of issues of these online medium, we have to take special care and give proper guidance and counseling for that child. There are few child who prefer online. See, for further positive reasons, well and good. If it is there, we can have. But instead of any particular specific reasons, if a child just children are ready, sir, but that but is there. No, I'll. So the children lost. What the children lost for 1.5 years? The children lost. It is at this corridor they had spent their times during their school hours, and imagine about many things. imagine about many things. Imagine about the further life. Imagine about and looking to the butterflies which are moving, which are flying around. Looking to the rainbow, looking to the outside and seeing the rainbow. And when he or she is seeing the rainbow and imagining something, earlier I put that their development happens in 4 domains. That is what the child lost for the 1.5 years, and this is what the child lost in the pandemic period. That the very enthusiastic moments in the school which they spent. And now see, 4 aspects we have to take care and we have to give when they are back to the school. So one is learning to, as Deleuze's report rightly pointed out, on learning to know and learning to do and learning to live together and learning to be. The bridging of the informations or the bridging of the knowledge that they had missed from the school side, from the teachers, from the library, from their peers, that part we have to bridge. So it is under the cognitive bridging of them. So that there is one book named The Encyclopedia of Ignorance. The Encyclopedia of Ignorance. And the Encyclopedia of Ignorance forward is very attractive. Its forward implies that if you compare your knowledge as a pond, your ignorance is Atlantic. So the learner must be able to develop an inquisitiveness for learning. An inquisitiveness for learning. All that hardships are there, all that protocol there, but if we are not able to provide such kind of an inquisitiveness, the lost will be there in their life. And second, it is their emotional, their physical, their mental, etc., etc. Then learning to do. See, there must be, I do agree with that. You have to follow the rules and regulations of the health department and the state machineries, the parents' pressure, everything. But in spite of all these hurdles, with following the protocol of, with strict compiling the protocol of COVID, if we fails to provide a kind of activities for the learner, this back to school will be a utter failure as far as the students are concerned, because the student develop a kind of deviancy, a negative aversion towards the institution named school. So therefore, my appeal to all my fellow teachers, to the teaching community, we are also preparing for the students to come and welcome them. So the difference is there. It is chronologically little bit high, a very large group and chronologically developed. Obviously, their problems are also different and the expectations are different, and we have to rise up to their level. That is the challenge as far as the teachers of higher education concerned. But here, the sensitivity is very high because small children are coming to the school. But if we are not able to provide a confidence on them and provide a provision for them to manifest their capacities, it become the back to school become a nightmare in the life of the child. That should not happen. And see, this was the earlier enthusiasm and joy of creation that they derived. And friends, it's all, don't take it as all suggestions or advices from my side, but I am sharing a feeling of a teacher, because see, irrespective of the pressure, social pressure, be keeping the correct decorum of the protocol of the pandemic or corona COVID protocols. But if we fail to find at least a spacing for this kind of activities, all the effort will be futile. Then, yeah. So they lost this 1.5. Sinan, yes, you want to talk anything? Yeah, no, yes. So when Madam, you, okay. So this is what the students missed, these opportunities for humanization and socialization and inculcating democratic values. See, within the limited capacity of
It's 6
the
o'clock.
limited capacity of the rules and regulations, where and when, if it is providing, we have to we have to take the spirit of these activities, and that togetherness will be. And obviously, we should not allow to take the mass of others and to interact further, etc. All that protocols will be there, but it should not a total spoiling of their mental confidence. And this is what they missed for the last 1.5 years. But as teachers, we have to really think about how we can reinstate within this protocol all these rooming or space for creative expressions. And this was really the school was a place for everyone to become, every child to become. And now we are for the last 1.5 years, it is not there. And we have to seriously think how we could able to boost up the confidence of these children, so that they will become a professional, a human being first of all, and enter into all kind of career branches. And this is what missed by the learner for the 1.5 years. And our libraries, then it should be there should be provision for the students to come to the library. Let the students take, let the students in, and within the vicinity and within the all kind of protocol, how we can boost up, how we can regain that lost reading capacity or reading experiences of the children, that we have to. And I told you we had a kind of perception, a research work on perception of the learners, and in that research work, which you lost most as a result of this pandemic, most of them unanimously, we missed the playground. That was the answer for that questionnaire. We missed playground, because it is this playground which provide a place for their channeling their pent-up emotions. And the laboratories, see, So all these we have to, in a step-by-step manner, we have to reclaim the lost experiences of the child. Then only we will be able to make the back to school a grand success. Now school is waiting for the children to come. Yeah, the school, all schools are waiting for the children to come. And what a few things I am telling to the teacher communities here as some suggestions, or as some suggestions. See, yes, we have to develop a kind of new normal. Never compromise the health protocols, because health is first, then education. Education is for a healthy living. So but it should not be at the cost of the learning, derivation of the experiences from the learning activities that we used to provide. So therefore, see what I can do. There is no specific answer for you. You can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that. There is no specific. According to the context and your visualization is very important. And according to the context, friends, we have to develop maximum provision for informal interactions. So therefore, as teachers, your mental health is a priority. Yeah, your mental health is a priority, and there is no meaning in having eyes when your mind is blind. So therefore, as a teacher should have an insight to every kind of activities, or every kind of see the process, or every indulgence of the learner. We have to appreciate, and we have to take hold of the everything, and provide maximum confidence for the learner. So here the mental health of a teacher is very important, as a very important one. And now see, one is how you can do when the children are coming back to the school. The first thing, care, listen about children's concerns. Care, listen about children's concern. Every child is submitting a slogan to all the adult. First to their parents. The question is, are you accountable to me? Can you console me? Are you considering me? So the learners were, see, prior to this 1.5 years, they were really seeing and considering the teachers as the source of consolation. Still, the learners are having that mindset. So therefore, we should not, our behavior or our style of action should not spoil that confidence in the child. So therefore, give a caring, give a listening, and because in the home, so what kind of a stressful situation the child has faced, even parents do not know. In many times we fail to understand as parents, and as parents and others in the home, we fails to understand the mindset of a learner. So they perceive the teachers as the source of consolation. So therefore, the first thing I want to share with you, and I want to reinstate that care, listen about children's concerns. See, here I want to make a very important point. You think about the children who left out orphanages. Orphanages. So orphanages is a place for them. And now these orphan students might have moved back to either to their uncles or aunties or their distant relatives places. But when school is back, when they are back to the school, they find a kind of enthrallment and a kind of source of consolation. So friends, we could able to care, listen, and see, allow them to say their feelings, their concerns, whatever it may be. So for me, see, a minute a device is missing. For me, it is not a concern because we know that all these complexities. But since there are 5 children in the home, the low grade student, low grade child has many times deprived of this electronic mobile. Therefore, she was missing the class. It is a Himalayan kind of missing as far as the child is concerned. So whatever it may be, very simple, silly things, give a ear to all the concerns of the child. So earlier, the child used to come to us. The child used to come to the staff room and see, embracing. We used to give a very tactful, very tactile kind of binding with the child. Now, as the protocol, due to the protocol and all, we may not be, but we should create a kind of verbatism where the child should feel that the teacher is, that Ashok sir is the same Ashok sir where I had met him, or the Shara teacher is the same one and all my Shara teacher before 1.5 years. So that feeling, that kind of a binding, if we could able to do in the beginning, the things are okay. Let the child move around. Let the child break. Let the child reconnect with their friends and peers. No need of a vigilance should be there, but teachers are not the servile cameras of the schools. Where if a child is making a mistake, immediately jump and find that mistake and report. No, it is in a participatory observing mode. When and there, if anything happens, we can correct, and if we can tell, we can very friendly, very as a system of living, it should evolve, not as a burden, imposed burden, rather than it should evolve as a so check how children are doing. So is there any isolate in the class? Is there any isolate in the class? Or if the child is feeling mentally so tough to the situation, something might have happened during these 1.5 years. So be very insightful and see how the children are doing. Whether the children are comparing the mask with the other fellows' mask and making and picking the mask of friends, etc. All that should be expected, but not act as a CCTV or a surveillance mechanism, but be a participatory approach. Very closely and friendly, I am sharing this, and all these things. And we need, then the second one is, the third one is, let the teachers be an accurate source of information about COVID-19. There may be a lot of apprehension, a lot of rumors, a lot of distorted, magnified facts available with the child related to COVID. But give a kind of correct informations. It is not a lecturing about a COVID-19. No need of lecturing of COVID-19. When and there, here and there, provide the informations about correct information about the COVID-19. And if the child is so ambitious and anxious about this pandemic, take the child and give counseling in a heart-to-heart mode. So because this was expected, and we were doing this. So therefore, in this period also, don't forget to take suggestion from children related to how we can arrange, how we have to go, how you can do this, how we can play. So if that seeking suggestions will be there, it is their idea, their involvement, and there may be hardships, but they will find it is very effective and involving. That is the fourth important thing I want to share. Friends, now you might have seen this. Somebody is holding the bag. So when holding with this right arm, so there starts a new kind of relationship and new kind of friendship, and where a peer is where both of them grow and both of them quarrel, then both of them learn. So this opportunity is lacking in such a way as it was there in the pre-COVID period. But it does not mean that we should curtail the provision for all kind of peer engagement and peer interactions. I don't believe in that. But it does not mean that we should give a lucid formalities or lucid interactions without the protocol of neglecting the protocol of COVID. No, but we provide little bit. Be cautious. Then you can have a mixing of one peer to one. For a while, keeping the social distance, and give provision for that guy. Let Shamsira interact with the Ashwati. Let Ashwati interact with Adira. Let Adira interact with Aneka. So like that, a pairing can be done, keeping the distance, so that at least the suffocation that the small children they had during these 1.5 hours will be loosed out to ooze out to certain extent. It is my simple suggestion. And now make sure that these are all activities will be there in the coming days, not in a at a stretch manner, but in a very, very tactfully, very, very slowly, but give the expectation for the students that all experiences which they missed and which was there prior to the COVID period will be, because this is the place where we have that our great athletes, where our great players who contributed, and this is the place where the motor activities and motor development of the individual? Are we in need of a poultry farm like chicken like individual, or an individual with all dynamism, a youth with all dynamism and all confidence and all the muscular and all cognitive, emotional and social development completed after these 12 years of schooling? So obviously the problems of COVID are there, but when back to school, we should try to engage step by step in a very scientific manner, keeping the norms and ways of norms and regulations of the protocol. Now, yeah, see, be a model, good model good coping behaviors for students when you are coming to the school, when after entering to the school. See, we have to keep all the protocols. So as children are very much particular in observing the elders and imitating, they will cop the all kind of behaviors, good coping behaviors to these to this situation now. And this is very important. This point is the last point as far as teachers concerned, but it should we should give first priority to this point. Take care of yourselves and know your limits. Suppose you are having anybody having any symptom of any kind of the issues related to the COVID, or any symptoms which is not even directly related to the COVID situation. If we feel that we are in an unhealthy mood, try to take care of ourselves, because it is the first and foremost we have to safeguard and we have to take care of. Don't take our challenge or our excitement on our excitement. Don't take challenges related to health issues. And my appeal to all the teachers here, it is only we only can do to bridge the emotional and cognitive deprivation that the child had during these 1.5 years. And if we able to bridge that gap, the pace and the fashion of the development of the learner will be comfortable. And I again submit that it is teachers only can do that, in spite of all the machineries and regulations, etc. If we could find an insightful kind of things in our while dealing with our children, definitely we can facilitate no hand-to-hand communication, but we can facilitate a heart-to-heart communication. And this heart-to-heart communication surely make the back to school a grand success. And I wish a very stress-free or best way of coping stresses that may happen in the against the stresses that may happen in the back to school on November 1st. And I wish all the success and best of luck, and be confident, because it is the trust of the society is upon us. And in the world, only one person can build an individual. It is only the teacher. So thank you very much. If you have anything to share, I'm here to interact with you. And thank you, Dr. Jalil, for inviting me for this program. I feel I had shared something, and your stress, I don't know. Even now, if you have any queries, let's see, to tell your students and to your children that the generations had survived by struggling these kind of many issues. But here, at least we could able to within 1 year we could able to find out a vaccine, and in our country we uh, successfully vaccinated that majestic 100 crore. And think about the previous generation where technology, science and technology had not developed much, and with their mental confidence they could able to overcome all the hardships. So my teachers, please render your heart to your child, not your hand, so that they will develop, and they will confidently enjoy their school life. Thank you very much.
Yes, Doctor, it was a wonderful session that you had a right blend of all the areas. Like, it was not only just focusing on COVID issues, you have tried to bring in the academic bridging and every such aspects. It was a wonderful mixture of all the areas, I would say, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. And there are a few questions, Doctor, if you can take it. Can we go with the questions, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Fine. So there is one question that some parents are not ready to send their wards to school. How can we convince them?
Shall I now?
Yeah, please. We'll go after.
See, don't be disappointed, because parents are like that. Parents are there are many of the parents, and even we had not conceived the concept what is the need of a school. I had conceived this concept only after I really conceived the concept only after I entered into the B.Ed program. What is the need of a school? So, and what school is in our system? It is a kind of ritual practice. Ritual practice. I'm not making it. See 5 years, 3.5 years, or 4 years, when the child attains the age of 4 years, yeah, as all are doing, and to the maximum expectation that he or she will get a job. So more than that, no question of socialization, no question of emotional binding, the purpose, no question of cognitive development, all that things. It's only understandable to we people. And the parents are not really aware of and aware of that sometimes, but not internalized. Therefore, try to have a one-to-one talk. Don't pressurize. Try to have a one-to-one talk by a faculty, a teacher who can be appointed, who is having some counseling skill or some communication skill with emotional integrity, and who can step into parents' shoes and try to understand them. And if you make such attempts for 1, 2, 3 times, and after that, if they are not ready, let it is their decision, their choice. We are helpless. What we can do? Nothing. Yeah. But all of a sudden, don't try to impose. That is my suggestion for this. Have a one-to-one talk. Try to she understand the significance of schooling, or the everlasting effect that your child may have, see, due to this tendency from your side. So that you can communicate, and the rest let them decide.
Yes, that got answered. Before we move to the next question, I would like to request the participants to mark the attendance, because we will be able to send the e-certificates only to those who submit the attendance. Sir, there are two other questions. I'll combine both. This is related to learning gaps. Can you suggest some activities where we can combine, where we can bridge the learning gap? Because after these 1.5 or 2 years, there will be a huge gap of learning.
Yeah.
So what are some of the suggestive activities which will help us in bridging the learning gap?
The first one is identify through anecdote. So don't ask, the governmental instructions are there, you don't do, and you should bridge the previous lessons. Bridging the previous lessons means, so not a repetition of the entire syllabus of the previous class. Bridging, how you can bridge? You test the learning gap. How you can test? See, it is not by a 20 multiple choice test item. See, you can use that technique or strategy of 20 multiple choice test, but not this time. This moment is not fitted for that. Now you just informally adopt some or formulate, design some anecdote where the implications of the concept which the child have to obtain in the previous classes are there, and present that anecdote. If that anecdote is not able to answer or fulfill, try to understand where the gaps, or give some activities. For example, see, now we have to concentrate on the homo faber tendency of the nature of the child, that is interesting of doing something. So therefore, rather than verbally giving something in order to find out the gaps, what you can do, let take the joyful part of the online learning, that is the exercises and the things which we add. So formulate such a design for checking the concepts, the previous concepts, and it is through very joyful and informal kind of experiences, informal kind of interactions, and find out that learning gap. Then see, after 1 or 2 weeks, the child might have adjusted, acclimatized with the environment. So then only move to the real conceptual bridging.
Yeah, well answered, Doctor. Before Mr. Ashraf proposes vote of thanks, we have 2 more questions. The next question is, sir, there is a possibility that we are going to have a lot of behavioral changes in our students when they come to school after this pandemic. So what is your suggestion? How to manage the behavioral aspects of the students when they come back after the pandemic?
So as I do also, this is not a question answer session. I'm just sharing my feelings. See, why these behavioral problems? That is the first concern. The lifestyle has totally changed. You know, see, the kid, my brother's kid, he is enrolled to a KG, online KG, and he is asking to her mother, Mama, what mobile you used when you were in the KG class. So this kind of conception out of the 1.5 exposure to online tools had happened, and the eating style, sleeping style, bathing style, then the careless attitude of the parents on these things, and the total change happened in the biological rhythm in the home. So these are all happened. So we are all victim of that in the beginning of the lockdown, where total shuttle was there, close down was there. We are all see our lifestyle has totally changed. So therefore, uh, be very observe each child, what behavioral changes that the child is expressing, and take that child as an individual case. Don't make a group comment. Don't make a group comment, at a stretch comment in the class, because they are not the victim. They are not the responsible. They are only the victims. They are not the responsible persons. It is the change that happened in the home environment that resulted in the behavioral issues. Or see, maybe all time the child is exposed to the problems, the quarrels of the siblings, or the quarrels between the husband and the spouses. Everything is visible to the child at all time. So because of so many reasons, this might have happened, and therefore my suggestion as a creative method: first, you develop a kind of participatory observation. Then if a behavioral problem 1 or 2 days, or 1 or 2 instances in a day, neglect it. Then if the opposite, the dichotomous behavior happens from the same child, project it, then that will be reinforced. And even then that behavior ailments continue, you take or you call individually, you try to talk, and not in a formal manner like what we had done in the previous case, but keeping the all the precautions, have that heart to heart communication takes place. Obviously the child will be able to correct it. And the extreme behavioral problem, which you, if a teacher is noticing, which you feel that I am not fit to give proper, don't try to become a specialist. Then you can take that child to either to the principal or the counselor, or you can have a discussion with one of your friends who you feel that she or he is very confident. Then so don't try to solve all such problems by the individual teacher alone. Okay, this is my observation.
Yeah, that too is well answered. Although it was not a session where we were getting ready-made solutions, being a person, Professor Raman Mustafa he is heading the Department of Education in the Central University of Kerala. So your opinion, your suggestions are valued the most, because you are one of the experts from the field. So it was a productive 1.5 hours that we spent here. And we are all indebted to you, sir, for your time and valuable suggestions and points. And one thing that I personally loved the most was that you have tried to integrate points from all the areas of concern. And we are indebted, and on behalf of Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya Complexes, Mr. Ashraf will be proposing vote of thanks. And Mr. Ashraf, over to you.
So
Personal thanks to you, Professor. Yeah.
one point. See, the teachers are for a child. For a child, this is from my experience as a father as well as a teacher educator for 25 years. See, for an action from the part of a teacher, whether in terms of the curriculum transaction or evaluation or any kind of thing, the teacher may be taking it as a very simple thing. But as far as the child is concerned, any subjective reaction from the part of the, I have to say this, I have a specific reason for this. Any subjective reactions towards the child that long lastingly affect the child's mind. So especially a child coming after this traumatic environment of 1.5 years, consider the child as all, they are considering us as teachers, supreme teachers, beloved, dear teachers. So therefore, try to embrace all the children as a single unit. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful message. Over to you, Mr. Ashraf.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Our chief guest, Mustafa sir, and Dr. Abdul Jalil, Subair sir, and Balagopal sir, and all other participants. First of all, let me extend great gratitude to you, Professor and Mustafa sir. It was a wonderful session. Actually, what is the learning outcome of this, and what I meant is that actually the students, the children, miss the climate and culture of the schools, rhythm of school and music of the school, and assembly, school routine, each and everything they miss it a lot. I mean, since March 10th, 2020, right? So now we back to school. All the Keralians, on November 1st, we are back to school. So in this moment, actually, I would like to say one point from your side. We should focus on heart-to-heart communication. It was a very nice message. So, I mean, instead of hand-to-hand communication, we should focus on heart-to-heart communication. A very nice session, very wonderful session on behalf of Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya Complexes. Let me extend thanks to you, sir. Big hats off, and all the Confederation members, especially President Father Sijan Paul Undugalil, Dr. Joji Paul, and the Dr. Dinesh Babu sir, and they are our strength. And actually, let me extend thanks to Dr. Abdul Jalil, because Jalil sir invited you to this session as the part of academic wing of Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya, and Mr. Balagopal, the head of academic wing. And last but not least, all the participants of this session, they were engaged by asking questions and also discussing with you. Oh, so dear participants, thank you very much. Thank you all. See you all. Bye. Thank you.
So we are going to wind up the session, and we request the participants to mark the attendance before leaving the session so that we can send you the e-certificates in coming days. Thank you all very much once again. Thank you, Professor, for
Yes, informally, Dr. Jalil sir, informally, I am sharing that all speeches, 15 to 12 minute speeches with you, all interactions. It is my effort to by incorporating, extending the learnings to there are so many teachers who are not able to spend many time for resources, and so people used to ask me why you are taking in Malayalam speeches, and now can we have in English so that you will get thousands case and case of subscription and all. Even my kid, my daughter used to ask me. So I'm taking simple incidents of concepts of like this, and in each Sunday I will devote my 2 hours for making these things. And if you feel good enough to share with your friends,
We'll surely do that, sir. We'll surely do that.
I don't want to.
I have gone through some of those created by you. Maybe short but effective. But we'll surely share.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor, once again for your time. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Now, yeah. Now we can leave the session.
Yes.
Request the participants once again to mark the attendance.